favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 30 days of unlimited social messaging, 10 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, and 1,000 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $100. Keep your number when you switch to St. Kitts' most reliable LTE network. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Hi there, very good morning to you. Time to welcome you now to Voices on WinFM 98.9. And on Voices, we take your calls. We discuss matters of import, local, regional, and international. Our numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. And today, of course, is nomination day in St. Kitts and Nevis. So candidates from the various political parties are out and about, some with supporters heading into the identified areas, designated areas for nominating people for candidates for an election. It's based in constituencies, 11 constituencies. So we have 11 areas for nomination today. And so, of course, we'll bring you coverage of that during the course of today. Of course, we look forward to your calls as well. Give us a call, 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the election campaign so far from the various parties, and your thoughts, of course, on the constituency elections and the candidates. We're going to hear from you today, 466-0989, 662-0989, and, of course, 762-0989. Our overseas numbers are 0333-344-0065, 718-285-6984, and 305-921-4619. I would like to say a very good morning, of course, to our sponsors, Rams and Flow.
Here comes the sun. Sunquick. Here comes the sun. Sunquick. Sunny flavors for everyone. Natural, tasty, full of vitamin C. The drink for the whole family. It's Sunquick. Sunquick Drink Concentrate gives you 40 glasses. 9 delicious flavors to choose from.
Orange tropical mango,
Peach orange, orange apricot, black currant.
apple, red orange, red fruit,
Bursting with vitamin C.
Sunquick,
Natural, tasty, full of vitamin C. The drink for the whole family. It's Sunquick.
Free data with your top-up. Enjoy your 1 gigabyte weekend data bonus when you top up today, $25 or more. Share all your fun times at home with your loved ones and stay entertained streaming your favorite online content on the best LTE network. Stay safe and stay connected with Flow. Top up $25 or more today and get 1 gigabyte of data free. Conditions apply.
Wednesday is nominations day, with the incumbent three-party coalition Team Unity, headed by Dr. Timothy Harris, expected to field a full slate of 11 candidates. Dr. Denzel Douglas's opposition St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is meanwhile contesting all 8 seats on St. Kitts. The Nevis Reformation Party's 3 candidates will also be nominated, as will the Concerned Citizens Movement 3, including Mark Brantley, who are running under the Team Unity banner. The nominations will be made in the 8 constituencies in St. Kitts and the 3 in Nevis. According to Supervisor of Elections Elvin Bailey, each candidate has to be nominated by at least 2 registered voters.
Candidates must be nominated by at least 2 registered voters of the constituency in which the candidate seeks election, subject to the conditions set out in Section 62, Part 4 of the Act. In due course, An announcement will be made of the successfully nominated candidates.
Nominations Day is intended to confirm the candidates participating in the election. There has been very little word to date on whether any independent candidate will be nominated. The general elections will be held 9 days later on Friday, June 5th.
On that report there from our news editor Ken Richards. So the day has arrived, it's nomination day. And the candidates did move around Bastille a bit early on this morning, and we saw supporters out with their colors, the Team Unity supporters out with their colors and their flags. And of course, we did see some efforts at social distancing as well in some instances, not in every. And of course, we saw the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party supporters, of course, out as well. We did see some street jamming in kind of not as huge a crowd as you're accustomed to, but certainly some people on the street jamming and playing the music, all quite exciting. Let's go to the phone lines now and hear from our first caller for today. Caller, you're live and on the air. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Mr. Bacchus.
Yes, good morning, Gregory. How are you doing?
Blessed in Jesus' name and greetings to you in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners and second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, I would like to say, Mr. Bacchus, it doesn't matter who is in government if we continually, as we have always been doing, going contrary to the Word of God, going in disobedience to the Word of God, things will never, ever get better. There might be times when that might seem to be the case, but in the end, it will not be the case. In the end, it will only give us false hope, false peace, and so on until when God is ready to pull the rug on from under our feet and put his judgment on us and make things and make things a lot worse to show us that we cannot solve our problems apart from and contrary to the Bible.
Let me ask you a question, though. I know you say that all the time, and you keep repeating that. You've done that for many, many, many years, and you continue to believe that. You continue to remind everyone that this is how you see it. What for you are the issues of this election? I'm not interested in who you're supporting. I just want to hear your thoughts on one or two or three issues you think are important for this election.
Well, the biggest issue for me is whether those who are putting up themselves to be in office, if they are true men of God, if they understand what the Bible says about government and how a country ought to be run, and are they willing to do things according to the Bible? That is my biggest issue, because based on the Bible, the principle are the primary reason for government. It's not really to make life better for us or that sort of stuff. Those are secondary reasons for government. The primary reason for government is to give God the glory and to be an instrument of God in spreading his kingdom over the earth and in winning people to his kingdom. That is and giving glory to God. That is the main purpose of government. But we do not recognize that because we do not obey the Bible, and because putting men in power, whether they be of God, as a matter of fact, not even whether they be of God, we prefer to have men in power who are not obedient to the Word of God and who will not be doing things according to the Word of God. And because of that, things will not go correctly until we repent and do things according to the Bible.
Well, bearing in mind that you're saying that now, my other question would be, what one or two things would you like to see after the elections are over and somebody would have won by then?
What I would like to see?
Yes.
Again, Mr. Bacchus, there are many things that I would like to see, but it first begins with the spiritual and not the physical. And it first begins with our leaders repenting before God, becoming obedient to the word of God, and calling the country to do that in repentance. And calling the country to covenant before God, to be obedient to the word of God. That is my biggest issue. Economics and all of those other issues come secondarily. But you have to put the horse in front of the cat. What we are doing, we are putting the cat in front of the horse.
All right, thank you.
And so because of that, my priorities, based on the Bible, is not in line with the vast majority of the country, and we ought to get our priorities in line with the Bible. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Gregory, for getting the ball rolling today and sharing your thoughts with us. We always look forward to hearing from you. And, of course, you said you'd like to see more of a biblical approach to government and the way how perhaps people can conduct themselves. We'll want to hear from other callers as well. What are your issues for this election? And what one or two recommendations would you like to see implemented after the elections are over? They will be over, and there will be a winner, and there will be a loser. But what about you? You have what? You have a feeling that things should be what? Let's hear from you. Let's go back to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Call you live and on the air. And a very good morning to you. All right, we seem to have missed you, caller. And if you can, please call back. We look forward to hearing from you. You're tuned to Winner FM. We've got our team out and about, just covering nomination day. We've got Ken Richards is on the road, German Abel. We also have Sharon, who's out there as well, trying to gather material, gather information on nomination day so we can share it with our listeners and, of course, with our viewers as well. Let's say good morning to Mr. Abel. Mr. Abel, good morning to you, sir.
Hi, good morning, Bacchus. Good morning. Good morning to the listeners. Well, we're here in Constituency 3, just outside the St. Johnston's Community Center. And I don't know if you're hearing in the background, but the Labour Party's candidate, Conor Maynard, has just actually completed his registration process. He had somewhat of a small crowd, depending on which direction you see it, but he had a relatively small crowd here of supporters cheering him on, partying, and the process from 2015 to what was done today took a little longer than what we have grown accustomed to. And speaking to Maynard after he came out, he just said he basically took his time, get everything completed, cross the T's and dot the I's to ensure that the process was actually smooth and everything was completed. And he is going to be on the ballot because most of what he would have done, he said basically it is okay and he's already registered. They're now heading back to the constituency office in Constituency 3, to continue with the party and the procession. But right now we're on the ground here and we're actually awaiting the arrival of his competitor, Akila Byron Nisbet. She was actually supposed to be at the constituency, at the office here, at the community center rather, to register at 11 o'clock, but we're still awaiting her arrival here. And that's basically what has transpired here this morning. But it came in a bit later than the 10 o'clock schedule that we were given in terms of him actually coming to the St. Johnston's Community Center to register. He was here with his family and everyone. And right now, it's a bit quiet because we're waiting the arrival, as I said before, of Ms. Byron Nisbet. So that's what what has transpired here so far at St. Johnston's Community Center in Constituency 3.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Let me ask you this now. Are there any different arrangements that you're seeing this time from the last time around in the context, of course, of social distancing and all the other COVID-19 regulations? Are people adhering to those regulations from what you've seen so far?
Well, that's the thing. The police has been trying to get some of that in place, but the procession itself, the people are not social distancing. Congress came in with his face mask, he, his family, the two persons who came to sign up on his registration. But, to the persons who were outside and doing their, showing their support, they were social distancing. But as the procession heads down the street right now, there's no social distancing, there's no real push to have social distancing because everybody is bunched together because it's a small traffic, cars are parked on either side of the road. So there's no real social distancing right now. But I must note, though, that a lot of those in the procession do have their face masks on. I must note that. And
all right.
We didn't get to actually go in. I didn't actually go inside to see what it's like in there. But as the supervisor election would have said, it's basically a lot of measures in place to deal with to fight against COVID-19 within the station there.
All right, good. Well, stay there, and we're going to call you back a bit later on. Give me a signal after the arrival of the candidate for that area as well, Senator Keela Byron Nisbet. We'd like to get your coverage of that as well. So give me an alert, and I will certainly get you back up online so our listeners could hear from you in terms of what you've observed on the ground. Thank you very much, German, for that report. You're tuned to Win FM. It's 90.9 on your dial. All right, you're live on Voices, and Voices comes to you the very best wishes of Rams and Flo. And it's nomination day in St. Kitts and Nevis. What's on your mind? The election around the corner. And, what are you voting for? I don't need to know who you're voting for. That's your business. I'd like to know what are some of the issues you have in mind, and what would you like to see discussed during this election period, and what would you like to see happen after the elections. But before we take your calls, let's hear now from our partners, Rams and Flo.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta, drink the real Fruta, your favorite Fruta, the natural taste is Fruta. Fruta.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Flo's new combo plan, the people's plan. Combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flo.
I want a combo, but not for my belly. I feel me cell phone, so me call anybody. Call Mr. Man, call Granny. On the island, Flo, come me.
Yes, there is no need for two phones no more. Cause with Flo combo plan, you're paying less for more. Flo got a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flo.
Dial star 129 number sign to activate your combo plan today.
It is Win FM. It's 98.9 www.winnfm.com. Hi there. Good morning. You're live and on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Fakole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to give my input.
Yes, go ahead.
Like, I live here almost all my life, right? Now we supposed to be an independent country. So I realize now, we divided. And if Timothy and Douglas work together and unite the country, we will have a better country. Because we only got a population of about 40,000 people. If we work together, we could get it up. But if we divide it, it could never come together. And you might find Timothy good in something and Dougie good in something. But they put the two of them together and we will get this thing work together. Clean back up the country again and let me get something work. I will let it just allow.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate that. So you're talking about unity at another level, perhaps a government of national unity. So there's a Well, that has been a goal in many countries. Very few have been able to achieve because we have a system where you have competing parties in a democracy, and you're allowed to choose your party, the party you think will work better for you and your family members and your constituents, your physical area. I think that's what people. I was talking to a few people just yesterday or the day before yesterday. I was asking the same question: what do you vote for? And I can tell you, the majority of people I spoke to said to me, well, I vote based on what you can do for me. I am not voting based on some, fancy idea about democracy and all that. I be voting for what you can do for me. So if somebody comes to me and say, I want your vote, I ask them, what are you going to do for me? Yeah, and that's the answer I got from quite a few people. Not in so many words. Some people were, a little more lengthy in what they said, but the overriding majority of people I spoke to were saying essentially that this is a trade, this is a transaction. You want something from me, and I want something from you. Is that how you see it? I don't know. Give me a call. A very good morning. You're live and on the air. It's Voices.
Mr. Bacchus!
Mr. Montserrat in the house. In the house. Good morning to you.
Morning. That's the live left the place, right?
Yes,
so
man.
Tell the listeners not feel no way because the sad situation that we in with COVID, and so somebody have to bring some kind of joy and upliftment.
Well, once you call me, I can ask you about Montserrat first. You got to tell me, give me an update on what's happening in Montserrat, how are things going with your COVID response, and what's the big breaking story in Montserrat this morning?
Instead of one, the Premier has got one weekly press conference, weekly address rather. But this morning he decided for press conference to bring for the minister with him. And the country opened up slowly. It's amazing that it's because what we notice, maybe most of us is a work program, maybe because I was just before you, so I will set up our plans before. But it's amazing. I just see plans them that we got. When I may try the alphabetical for the people get to the supermarket, how we don't do that. Then work, and then we notice now that work down there, so that's an alcohol too. Then now how we open up, and well, I am in front. I am one step in front with the barber and the hair salon, the beauty salon. I start that before we, but that they open now. But I will still on the same page with the bars and them. The bars and them no open yet, and you get little frills now of like a family of 5 household. Let me say household, not family, because if the family not live together, they can go up on the beach 5. So even if 7 of the household where we one have to stop or right? The same thing with the buses. Somebody for one seat, but if our the same household, well, then we'd accept, and support us. So no more cases, but still practicing social distance and support and so. Basically the same thing I got, the same thing I got.
Okay, so now that the bars remain closed, how are people managing now? They decide to stop drinking and live a nice, decent life, or what?
No. That's only social distance, right? But listen, you can go to the supermarket and buy what you buy,
Okay, so you still get the Thompson thing. Okay, all right.
And go home and do that. You just not social now around the bar. Like the boys on the domino table and them now, them not getting kind of privilege.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So what's on your mind? So what's on your mind this morning?
Yes, well, what's on my mind now? Me call out missionary yesterday, so listen to missionary come, tell me if the Charlie election has the state of emergency wrong or right. That all no answer, no? And if you want to go on, well, you can go on. But
we want to know.
Wrong
repeat that.
Right, huh?
Repeat that again for me. The line wasn't very clear. Just repeat what you just said.
Okay.
You say you want me to do something?
Yeah. Let me do it this way that to make it more clearer then. Missionary and Socrates Monday was saying that he never got a free and fair election in St. Kitts. So me say now, this is our golden opportunity for Team Unity to show the world that they can get a free and fair election in St. Kitts. So we ask missionary to come and tell us, especially me, and we challenge her upon the ground of me and she Christian together. So we challenge upon the ground of good Christian principle ethics. So come and tell me and tell the rest of the listeners, if calling the election and a state of emergency, if it's right or if it's wrong. That's all.
All right. Thank
all
you.
Right?
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so maybe come back.
Okay. Appreciate it, man. We go back to the phone lines. Call you on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Backer.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing this nomination day? You good?
Oh boy, I missed out. I missed it. I just watched a little piece on the line and oh my God, I missed out.
Oh, you missed out. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I missed out. But let me tell you something, right? What I see, things look good. All I want, I don't want no violence. I would like to get a peaceful election because I hear Mr. Eugene Hamilton on the radio talk to this morning saying that somebody went on a lady job and had a well choke off, and we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need to go down the road. Somebody got to win and somebody got to lose. Things belongs to all of us. All of us have to live with it.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Which constituency you're in?
I'm number one.
Okay, so how things are number one for you? What are you seeing today? A lot of people on the road and stuff, or things are quiet?
No, I tell you, I'm home. I'm overseas. That's what I tell you. I missed
Oh, my gosh. Sorry. I misunderstood. Okay, I thought you were doing something else. I thought you were doing something else and you missed it. Okay, I got you now.
I was supposed to back home because I just leave St. Kitts in March and then they said they closed the border. So
oh, boy, I'm sorry.
I get out.
Sorry.
What I see, right? What I see, Mr. Bacchus, especially number 6. Number 6 really, really come out against the opposition. What I see, they say they're trying something else. They're trying this stuff. They've been trying the hand all these years, and after the clock stop tick and the hand stop, they say it's time to move on. So they say they're trying a new thing. So I hope we don't. That means if they're trying a new thing, they say Douglas ain't do nothing for them after all the years. So I don't know. If number 6 ain't want him, I don't know who's going to take him because we don't want him in number 1 neither, Mr. Bacchus. People have to move on, okay? So we need peaceful election, and I hope everybody be safe. But to me, Team Unity look good. General Powell, he look very, very strong in Central. What I see this morning online, Mr. Bacchus, you have a safe day, and I'm asking you to give Unity your support.
Good luck with you. All right, darling. Thank you so much. Thanks very much for that. You won't put me in trouble now, okay? Thank you so much. All right, so that's the caller there abroad and not able to vote this time around. Couldn't get back in. Well, thanks for calling and thanks for sharing as well. And clearly, I know who you support, and you want to put me in the story now with people now, But thanks for that. Much appreciated. You're through the Mid FM. It's 90.9 on your dial. So, our phone lines are open, 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. Let's say good morning to Rams and good morning to Flo.
data with your top up. Enjoy your 1 gigabyte weekend data bonus when you top up today, $25 or more. Share all your fun times at home with your loved ones and stay entertained streaming your favorite online content on the best LTE network. Stay safe and stay connected with Flow. Top up $25 or more today and get 1 gigabyte of data free. Conditions apply.
It is nomination day in St. Kitts and Nevis as the 5th of June elections draws nearer. And today the candidates are out. I think you perhaps would know that you have to have 2 members of the constituency in which you'd like to run really say, look, we would like this gentleman and to be a representative, and then you sign up, whether you are from the Concerned Citizens Movement, whether you're from the People's Labour Party, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, the Nevis Reformation Party, or the People's Action Movement, or if you want to run as an independent. I think the deposit is $150, and you are in the race. And to really be elected to Parliament to serve as a representative of the people, whether you're a senator or whether or not you're a representative, you've got to have a clean record. You can't be bankrupt, you can't have served time, and that sort of thing. So that's what's taking place today. And of course, the candidates are going with their supporters as a show of strength. We heard from German a bit earlier on about what's happening in one particular field. We heard from Sharon. She's going to have something on the headline news for you. And Ken as well will have something for you as well as we continue our coverage of Nomination Day on Win FM. We go back to the phone lines and hear from you. Call you on the air, and good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Backus.
Yes, sir. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good.
All right. So what's in your mind this morning?
Well, your question actually is on my mind. What should be the election issues?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm convinced more than ever that the governance issue should be front and foremost.
When you say governance, you are now the governance man, right?
I am?
Yes, you're the governance man. I wish
I were. We have it tomorrow.
I just christened you the governance man for today on Voices. You have been consistently talking about governance issues. And when you say governance issue, do you think people really get what you're talking about? I mean, I'm asking you for your opinion here. Do you think people understand what you mean when you say governance issues?
Well, they would not understand the term as, for instance, defined by international. I think it was the World Bank who came up with or IMF. Some one of those came up with a really good definition, and it included a lot of things. The thing is, people might not understand collectively the term governance, but they know when things are not being done correctly. They know when their leaders are corrupt. They know when victimization occurs. They know when the resources of the country are not spread in a fair way. They know these things, right? They may not be able to make the connection with those bread and butter things as opposed to when we say governance, but it includes all of that, okay? You see, if we don't get our governance right, it does not matter what else we do. We may make progress, yes, but it will be slow and painful. I've always maintained that our main problems aren't economic ones. We have done well since independence, even before. And comparatively speaking, compared to the rest, we have one of the best standards of living in the region, right? And multiple administrations are responsible for this. Okay, so our problem is not economic. We are not economic. Our problem is political. Okay, and that is where the whole idea of governance comes in. I mean, we have been very cynical about our part. Someone defined politics as who gives and who gets what, when, and how much. And, I think we're playing that to the hilt. And we're not managing very well, okay? I don't know how long you've been here, but I'm sure you've been through several cycles. And one of the election cycles that is, and one of the things that are very obvious, it almost seems like the same things. We could take a campaign from 1 year, 1 5-year period to the next. And it's pretty much the same thing, okay? And even when we have a change of government, all that happens is a change of names. In other words, we have an exchange. And the next 5 years, we come back with the same things again. Okay? And it's time to break that cycle. We're nowhere closer to doing that, even now. Okay? If we continue to buy into things like political patronage, corruption, the tribalism and the victimization, in that atmosphere, we cannot have unity and the singleness of purpose. Could never happen, right?
But when you say corruption, is that a fair description? There may be a way that, okay, there may be that word corruption there, but there may be a way in which St. Kitts and Nevis does business. And it doesn't matter who's doing the business in terms of which party. There's a particular way the business is done. Is it fair to call corruption, or is there another word for that?
Well, if the business is not being done right, it's corruption. And it doesn't matter which party is doing it, it's corruption.
Okay, let me put it this way then.
And that's what I'm saying, right?
Okay, let me put it this way, because I'm trying to provoke you a bit. So let me put it this way. There is something called bribery on the books. Right. But you know that many people say openly that I'm not someone who's taken a bribe. I'm just looking out for myself. And if this politician wants my vote, I will tell them what I want. And if I get it, I'm going to vote for them. So, is that bribery?
Well, you tell me. What do you think?
I'm asking you.
If you are gonna exchange your vote for what? A Rams voucher, say, or $100. Some people price higher. Some people might have $5,000. That is bribery. If you are going to exchange your vote for that, that is bribery. You should not be voting. If that's the case, right, what it means is that the person with the most money are going to win the elections. And it don't matter if they have poor ideas, poor policies, poor plans, right? That doesn't matter. What matters is that at least for today, your belly is full. But then they get into power, and then the crunch starts. You think they're going to be around giving you vouchers and money and that kind of thing then? No. You left to fend for yourself. And that is why I'm saying, right, that we have this buy-in into the patronage and the corruption and that kind of thing, okay, which somehow has to stop. And the only logical way of stop, well, there are two really that I see. One is to have the good governance, because you see, when you have good governance, when you have the systems that prevent people, the powerful, whether in business or government, from abusing the power, from using state or other resources to do things like buy votes and that sort of thing. Okay? When you have to run an open and transparent administration, okay, so that you don't have this secrecy and you things would be done properly. Once you have freedom of information and you know that, well, if you start taking things, whether under the table or above the table, that it will be found out, right? There is less of an inclination to do things the wrong way, right? There's a deterrent. It has a deterrent effect. If you know you're going to get caught, you wouldn't do those things. And that to me is that's one of the things that would help, okay? The other thing that would help, Mr. Bacchus, is this idea of changing governments until we get the change that we want. if we continue doing the same things over and over and over again, and there's no change, well, you could do one of two things. You could say, oh, well, they're all alike. Might as well don't vote. The other ones, if I vote against the ones in power, the other one's going to come in and do the same. So might as well don't vote. But if you do that, what you are doing is perpetuating the status quo. Okay? It seems to make more sense to me to change what's in there rather than reward the unsatisfactory status quo. If they don't do what was promised, then next 5 years, you change them again. I don't know why there's a reluctance to change government, right? I mean, it is obvious to most people that those in power seem to favor their family and their friends, and there's all kinds of nepotism and that kind of thing. Well, okay, fine, give them the 5 years, but after that, that's enough. Bring in another set, and let's see if they do things differently.
All right.
Right? Otherwise, you're rewarding the same old status quo.
Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much because I'm actually collecting some data. That's why I asked the question. So I'm glad you answered the question.
Some data?
Yes, I am. I'm trying to get some responses from people in terms of the whole issue of what has been termed bribery of the electorate, and I'm trying to see how people respond to that. To that view, so that's why I was being provocative today.
You think people are going to give you honest responses?
Well,
something like that?
Well, you just did. You just did.
Well, but I'm not taking a bribe. You see?
Well, there are people who.
Can you say that about a lot of the other people?
Well, the people,
you think the people who are trying to get elected,
yes,
aren't doing that for a reason?
Well, people who I speak to me frankly, because I'm not going to say who they are, but they tell me clearly. They say to me, "Look, I'll speak to you off the record, but this is why I do what I'm doing." And there's elements of trust. So I want to hear the truth. I don't want to hear what is socially acceptable and what's politically correct. I want to hear why you do what you do.
No,
and some people have said,
but
that's what I do.
You'd never find someone incriminating themselves. That's what
you
what
would be surprised, my friend. You would be surprised. Anyway, thank you so much for calling. All right. All right. So thank you. All right, you tune in with the family. It's 90.9, and it is an open mic today. It is nomination day. Let me read to you what the act says. It says that a person shall be deemed guilty of bribery, and these are some of the issues here. If you give, lend, or agree to lend, or offer, promise, or promise to procure, or endeavor to procure any money or valuable consideration to or for any voter, or to or for any person on behalf of any voter, or to for any other person in order to induce any voter to vote for refrain from voting. And the list goes on and on and on. It includes every person who directly or indirectly, by himself or herself, or by any other person on his or her behalf, give or procures, or agrees to give or to procure, that person is guilty of bribery. And it goes on. There's a lot more to it. I'm not going to read all of that. It goes on and on and on. And as I was saying to you early on, speaking to a few people in St. Kitts and Nevis and the wider Caribbean, who sometimes I ask, well, what makes you go to the poll? What makes you vote? And you'll be surprised at the answers you get. And they don't see it as anything to do with bribery. They see it as a trade. And that's what they say. Let's go back to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Call you live and on the air. Good morning to you.
Hello, Mr. Bacchus. How are you?
I am doing good, Mr. Manos.
This is Jam down here, Mr. Bacchus.
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Well, giving thanks this morning. It's nomination day.
I don't want nobody put you in the politics, I want you to leave it for we on the ground.
All right.
Mr. Bacchus, we have a country to build and a country to mold. We cannot go back down the road with the gangster boy. We have to build this country. And for me, Team Unity has done it all in 5 years. And I think they deserve a next chance. And I don't walk me might to give them a chance. A next chance. Mr. Bacchus, quickly, I want to put the last caller in the chat. You know why? Not being rude to him or nothing, but this was a fellow was working with the government and was fudging.
All right, listen. You keep doing that, Mr. Manners, and we're not going to have that on the radio. I have asked the gentleman the question, have you been charged with any offense? He said no. Are you under any investigation? He said no. So why are we perpetuating this thing on and on about what the gentleman used to do and what somebody said he used to do? If he had done something that was against the law, I figure he would face charges, wouldn't he? And if he had done something that's wrong, but is not a criminal offense, I would expect there will be an investigation and a report from that investigation. So I do respect your opinion, but I'm not going to promote you calling on the radio to say things about people that at the moment, I'm saying, well, where's the proof and where's the punishment? I mean, we can't just continue because you don't like what the person is saying. The person has a right to their own views. They have a right to support their own party. And in Win FM, we give everybody a chance to express themselves, and we hope you will do so. But, the personal attacks, attack the idea. Don't attack the person, please, if you don't mind. And if I have to, I will say, so long. Go back to the phone lines, call you live and on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, good morning, Clive. How are you doing?
Good to hear from you, my brother. How is nomination day for you?
Well, nomination day means that it appears as if that we are ready to change the needle and play the same song.
Is that reggae, soca, soul?
Reggae, soca, calypso, mix up everything, continue.
All right.
And the more we change, the more things remain the same. And we're going in a cycle. Give everybody a turn to run things being charged. So to me, that's the way it looked to me in some aspect of life.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you, because, when I get you on the phone, I can ask you one or two questions. You know my story. What are the election issues for you? I don't care who you vote for or who you support, but personally, as a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, what are some of the issues on your mind? And what one or two things would you like to see after the elections are over and there's a winner and obviously a loser as well?
I agree with you that you're not going to ask me, and you could ask me, but that don't mean I will tell you. If it was meant for me to tell you, then they wouldn't have a curtain for me to go behind and make my vote.
Absolutely.
As well as I could tell you one thing and go behind the curtain and do another thing, because lots of people do that. And that will be within their right. They could say anything they want. And so no one is ever guilty of anything until they get caught. That goes for everyone. So at the same time, at the end of the day, I would like to see that after this election that the country take on a healing procession and actually the people come together and toe their line and move the country forward and use our best resources that we have. And whereas most men who gets in power avoid looking for themselves and for within themselves and look for others and to serve those whom they take an oath in office to serve. And so to me, at the end of the day, I could live with everybody, because at the end of the day, when I walk into a supermarket, I won't have a card that mark Labour, Unity, UNEP, somebody in Nevis that will make me better value, which will give me cheaper prices. I will have to pay all the bills like everybody else. So at the end of the day, I think that people should listen to who the candidate are presented and make a decision. Never give up the opportunity to vote, because it is what our foreparents fought for, and it is in our rights. We have a right to hire and fire, and that's the only time we get a chance to make a decision, once every 5 years. So I think that we should use it to the best of our ability in preference of who we choose. But most people choose to vote party line when we should try to vote on issues rather than party, because people flag you with all kind of different colors and you fail to see what is ahead. And you put in those politicians in a very good position, and then they go into the House of Assembly and they pass some good taxes on you. And when they say, you're shut out, you have to pay whatever they bring before them, and they get everything duty-free. So those are some of the things that I see that we need to look at closely and see that we've been looked for and try to assist by. We've been promised lots of things. Some we did not see, some we asked for, and some we did get and some we did not. But that is life. You can't get everything that was promised to you, because people could promise you everything, but they can't give you everything.
Let me ask you one other question then. One other question, if you don't mind. That question is this. What are some of the things that you like or dislike about this election campaign? This is the first one, I guess, where because of the fact that the nation is battling with COVID-19. You're seeing there are no big bands coming in for this one. There's no big names coming down, but you're seeing a response from the local population and some abroad as well who are helping through the internet and all that. You're seeing a lot of innovation. But what are your thoughts about it? Do you enjoy it? Are there some things you like? What?
I rather like this election campaign. And one of the things that I don't like about it is that the money that was spent in past campaign, those who have gathered that kind of money, because trust me, the last campaign that we had, some money was really spent in terms of airplane. Airplane don't fly without money. And there are lots of people who fly into St. Kitts from New York and countries all over the world to come to St. Kitts to vote. They enjoy a plane ride and a plane ticket. We in St. Kitts, we receive nothing and we vote. Now, all that money that was spent, spend it on us here in St. Kitts. Let us see that the money is spread out, that you had to vote to give the people that you used to pay for all those singers to come in and set up stage and everything. Spend the money on the people here. Show them that you love them. And actually, while we campaign, let us have what you call a genuine election by serving our own people who are here on the ground. Not have us here wondering and with our mouth gaps in and wondering and thirsty for drink or whatever. But don't use drinks to bribe us into voting. So that's my concept of that.
All right.
And I think that we're having a better atmosphere without those people coming in.
All right. Well,
So
thank you very much.
Sometimes something bad happens for something good.
Yep.
There's always a bright light at the end of every tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So it might have been a good that they get to stay out.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution. All right.
Okay, Clark.
Yeah, well, take care. All right. So that caller there sharing his thoughts with us today. Much appreciated. That's what we're doing on Voices. We're hearing from you and we're asking you questions and we listen to what you have to say. We just ask one thing, that, we're all sinners. Nobody here who have not sinned. So we want to focus on the issues if you like, and let's just ease up a little bit, on the name calling and the accusations that you can't prove. All right? Let's go back to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Call you live and on the air. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Becker.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
I'm gonna tell the last caller. I don't appreciate him calling the overseas voters those people were petitions just like him. Okay? Let me tell him that. I am very offended to be addressed as those people. I pay taxes home.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, Mr. Backus, come to Mr. McMahon. You see why Mr. McMahon, he tried to sound genuine, but he's not. Because you know why I said that? He talked about good governance, and he talked this, and he talked that. Okay. Granted, let's give God thanks. Over the past 5 years, his eyes have seen the glories, not of the Lord, but of good governance. But you asked him a question about bribery, and listen to what Mr. McMahon said. He focused on a Rams voucher and $100 or $200, something he said. He didn't go back to last election with the refrigerator, the door, the stove, the this, the that. Come on now, Mr. McMahon. That's got to show he's not genuine. He wants to focus on this, but he forget that his government did the same mess. And that is why you really you have my God. Mr. Backus, my thing for saying it, after this election, and you know what I'm glad for? I'm glad this election is very quick. And my thing for after this election finish, I want set dates for election, and I want the country to stay free the way it is, free from all these murders that we used to have. Because if the people in St. Kitts don't feel any freer today, then something wrong with them. Because Mr. Backus, tell me you feel a little safer walking the street. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Do you feel a little safer walking the street?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I always feel safe walking the street. I love St. Kitts and Nevis.
Mr. Backus, we all love St. Kitts and Nevis, but some people quiver when they walk the street. Come on now, let's be real. You see, y'all can't keep it real. I want to keep it real. But the atmosphere, as they would say, the atmosphere, it's a total different feeling. And I want for St. Kitts and Nevis, after this election, like I tell them yesterday, we want manufacturing plants in our country where we can manufacture our own stuff. It's time for us to export and stop import so much.
Well, let me
That's
ask you
what
this.
I want from my country.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a provocative question now. So,
Yeah.
what are your views on the overseas voters, as it's called? What's your view on that?
Well, Mr. Backer, my view on that, right, is I'm not going to tell any lie. I cannot lie. I would have loved to be home to vote. But this is what they I guess it's not in the cards, as we would say. And my thing is as it is now, is like they say, like the people of St. Kitts, they're like the caller who call us them people. Well, we're going to see what them people down they want. That is what we're going to see after this election. We're going to see what them people down there want. Because then if they don't roll, we sing a song in church, roll back the curtains of memory now and then and show me where you brought me from. And if I start rolling back, I hope St. Kitts don't want to go back from where they came from. That's my thing for my little island, St. Kitts. So I'm missing out on the voting. I'm mad, but I got over it. I got over it, Mr. Backus. And I wish the best for the country because I love my country and it's country above self. You have a good day.
Yeah, you have a wonderful day as well. Thank you so much for calling and sharing your thoughts with us today on Voices. And, of course, we're going to take a break now. It's coming up to the midday hour, so we're going to ask you to just hold off a bit. Those who are trying to get through right now will be back at just about 12:30 or thereabouts to continue with the second segment of Voices. We want to thank Rams and Flo, proud sponsors of Voices for the first segment. And stay tuned now to hear from Rams and Flo. And then just after that, you're going to hear from the headline news.
Here comes the sun.
Sun quick.
Here comes the sun.
Sun quick.
Sunny flavors for everyone. Natural, tasty, full of vitamin C. The drink for the whole family. It's Sunquick.
Sunquick Drink Concentrate gives you 40 glasses. 9 delicious flavors to choose from.
Orange tropical mango.
Peach orange, orange apricot, black currant,
Apple. Red orange. Red fruit.
bursting with vitamin C.
Sun quick.
Natural, tasty, full of vitamin C. The drink for the whole family. It's Sunquick.
Flo's new combo plan, the people's plan.
Combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flow.
I want a combo, but not for my belly. I feel me cell phone, so me call anybody. Call Mr. Man, call Granny. On the island, Flow come boom.
Yes, there is no need for to force no more. Cause with Flow combo plan, you're paying less for more. Flow got a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flow.
Dial star 129 number sign to activate your combo plan today.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the Win FM Headline News. The Win FM Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit our
469-5301 or 469-5303. DLU Walwyn, people you can trust.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Today is nomination day. Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, the SKNLP candidate for Constituency 1, was sworn in at the Police Training School compound. Hanley, who was accompanied by 2 witnesses, also from East Bastair, and 2 attorneys, entered the compound at 10 a.m. In the fairly short nomination process, Hanley read the candidate's declaration and signed on the dotted line.
I, Jeffrey Hanley, of Ponds Extension, in constituency of East Bastair, do solemnly and sincerely swear, affirm as follows, that I am duly qualified in accordance with Section 27 and 28 of the Constitution of St. Christopher Nevis to be elected as a member of the National Assembly for electoral district, and that 1. I am a citizen of St. Christopher Nevis of the age of 21 years and upwards. I am domiciled in St. Christopher and Nevis. I am not, by virtue of any act under acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience, or adherence to the foreign power of state.
He was greeted by jubilant Labour supporters after being nominated.
Just before going to the McKnight Community Centre in constituency number 2 at about 10:30 this morning to be nominated as a PAM Team Unity election candidate, Ambassador General Powell and some of his supporters spoke to Win FM. They itemized a few of the developments they expect to see in the community.
Well, I'm here by my constituency office on the corner of Tibo Avenue and Keon Street, and I'm about to move off to head down to the McKnight Community Centre to be nominated for the June 5th general election as a candidate for the People's Action Movement and Team Unity here in Central Bastair, constituency number 2.
I'm a supporter of PAM and General Powell, more in particular, for Central Bastair. I'm here to show my support that Central Bastair is getting the representation that they needed for so long, to make sure that Central Bastair have the proper person to represent us and take us into the future. Because far too long, Central Bastair sit down and wasted away when someone should have been in there
doing what needed to be done, and now we have somebody who's willing to do the work, willing and able to do the work to make Central Basket top of the line.
My name is Nakisha McDowell. I'm speaking to the abandoned houses in McKnight. Those houses would be broken down and repaired, rebuilt, and, you know, it's a long time we have been waiting for that, for the safety of the people of McKnight, and I appreciate that. And Janelle got you back in Central Bastia.
My name is Deandra Carey, and I want to speak about the overrun properties. I think that it's a good initiative to go ahead and clean up the overrun properties because they really do decrease the property value in the area. There's no reason why areas in constituency 2, whether it's McKnight or Irish Town, Dorset, Soho, why they can't look like areas in Bird Rock. And it will go ahead and increase the property value a whole lot and make the people that live in constituency 2 feel like kings and queens. So I really like the initiative. I think it will speak to the overall safety and beautification of the constituency on a whole.
Just want to big up Journal. On behalf of McKnight, this is a Sheila Talk speaking. We have a lot of old homes in McKnight need to be fixed, a lot of alleys need to be cleaned up. And Journal is the man for Central. He's going to make sure he takes care of everything.
The Labour Party candidate in constituency number 2 is Marcella Liebert, the deputy leader of the SKNLP.
Some callers to 1FM's Voices program aired their views on Nomination Day and the upcoming elections.
I rather like this election campaign. And one of the things that I don't like about it is that the money that was spent in past campaign, those who have gathered that kind of money, because trust me, the last campaign that we had, some money was really spent in terms of airplane. Airplane don't fly without money. And there are lots of people who fly into St. Kitts from New York and countries all over the world to come to St. Kitts to vote. They enjoy a plane ride and a plane ticket. We in St. Kitts, we receive nothing and we vote. Now, all that money that was spent, spend it on us here in St. Kitts. Let us see that the money is spread out, that you had to vote to give the people that you used to pay for all those singers to come in and set up stage and everything. Spend the money on the people here. Show them that you love them. And actually, while we campaign, let us have what you call a genuine election by serving our own people who are here on the ground. Not have us here wondering and with our mouth gaps in and wondering and thirsty for drink or whatever. But don't use drinks to bribe us into voting. So that's my concept of that.
Right.
And I think that we're having a better atmosphere without those people coming in.
Commissioner of Police Hilroy Brandy is appealing to communities to support COVID-19 regulations put in place to preserve public health and safety during the lead up to the June 5th elections in St. Kitts and Nevis.
We are asking for your help at this time. We are presently in state of emergency, and it's very unusual that we have in a general election in the state of emergency. Therefore, the normal campaigning cannot be as normal as previous general election. So therefore, there will be no public meeting, outdoor public meeting, and there will be no public, motorcades be allowed. Presently, the High Command has granted permission to both parties and St. Kitts to advertise their party and to give notice as to their party's position by using just 4 vehicles. We are now realizing that both parties are abusing this privilege, and more persons are joining those vehicles, joining those motorcades, and causing a problem for the organization.
The Commission's appeal at the National Emergency Operations Center's press briefing on Tuesday comes in the wake of an earlier statement published by the police last Thursday, appealing to supporters and politicians alike to respect the COVID-19 regulations that are now in effect. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mr. Vincent Hodge, is providing an update on arrangements for the July CXC and CAPE examinations.
As a result of COVID-19, CXC has modified the 2020 exam sitting. The students' grades will be determined using 2 assessment components instead of the usual 3. These components are the multiple choice, paper 1, and the school-based assessments. In this regard, CXC has made it compulsory for all students' SBAs to be submitted. Traditionally, there is a sampling of student work, SBA, that are submitted to CXC. This year, because it is one of the main components of awarding a grade to the students, every single SBA by every single student will be submitted. There's no sampling that is taking place this year.
The state of emergency was declared in March as the nation rallied in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic that claimed thousands of lives across the globe. At Newstime Wednesday, all 15 confirmed COVID-19 cases in the Federation had recovered. Tuesday, Mr. Hodge informed of some of the arrangements for students being allowed to return to school.
The Ministry of Education has sought provisional permission for students writing CSEC and CAPE to return to their respective high school campuses and the CFB campus to complete their SBAs and their internal assessments. No other students will be allowed on the campus, and I repeat, no other students but the Freeformers and CFBC students will be allowed on school campuses, as schools in the Federation are physically closed until further notice. However, before the task force can grant permission for these provisional arrangements for students to temporarily return, a number of health and safety protocols must be in place. To ensure that campuses meet the health standards, the task force will visit all secondary schools on Thursday, 28, 2020.
He also outlined other measures.
Schools are mandated to have certain processes implemented. For instance, students will be screened daily on arrival. Their temperature will be taken. There will be questions as to whether they have been sneezing or coughing. The sanitization of students' hands will be done. In this regard, parents are asked to note the following. Transportation by school buses will be arranged. Students are to bring with them water and snack if necessary. They will not be allowed to leave the premises to buy lunch. So when they enter at mornings, there would be process, as we say, and then they would leave if it's at the end of their session at midday or for the afternoon. But they're not allowed to leave and return. Parents will be given notice or instruction by the various principals as to whether school uniform or casual attire will be worn by students.
The Nevis Island administration is being used as a launching pad for first-time federal government candidate Eric Evelyn. During an interview with WinFM, the Minister of Sports in Nevis explains his reasoning for joining the race for the Concerned Citizens Movement in Constituency 10.
Well, I am in office at the Nevis Island administration level. I have been in office now for the past just about 2.5 months. And I think that I've been doing a marvelous job there. I've done a lot, and I've achieved quite a lot in my very short space of time. And I have the support on the ground. I'm very much in touch with the people. And it's because of the fact that I've done so well so far at the local level in Nevis why I think that I should get that opportunity to represent my constituents at the federal level.
Politics at the federal level is different from the lower level, which is the local government. How has the local government trained you? The experience you've gained there is a precursor to what you can expect for the federal parliament should you win the seat.
Well, I think that I've been getting some fantastic training. I am amongst persons in the Nevis Island administration level who are very experienced, and I'm learning the ropes and learning the ropes very fast. Of course, you know that the Premier of Nevis, who is the head of local government in Nevis, he is at the federal level, and he has been simply outstanding. The Honorable Vance Amory, he's also at the federal level, and as a matter of fact, he's the one who is passing the baton to me for the federal elections, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, who is also running for the federal election. He's also very experienced in the Nevis Island Assembly, as well as, of course, my other colleagues in the local level. And so I think I am getting fantastic training from them, and I think I am very much up to the task for running in this federal election, and not only just running, for representing the people of St. Kitts and Nevis in the federal level.
You have some may say you have a very big shoe to fill, in that you're replacing somebody who has been in the political fray for many years. Do you think you can actually fulfill or fill that shoe?
Well, I must say that the shoes of the Honorable Vance Amory are extremely hard to fill. I still consider myself very inexperienced and still pretty green in the politics, but I think I'm learning very fast. I cannot say that I can fill the shoes of the Honorable Vance Amory. He is full of experience. He has been in this thing for many, many years, over 20 years, and I don't think I will be ever able to fill his shoes. All I can say is that I'm going to do my best to represent and represent well, and I'm going to try my best to lean on his legacy, and I'm going to do my best to ensure that I do not disappoint him as well as the constituents of Nevis 10.
Okay, you've been campaigning. What are some of the issues you've been hearing on the ground from the people with regards to what it is that they want at the federal level?
Well, the federal election is always different to the local elections. And, of course, we know that the Concerned Citizens Movement is part of Team Unity, and we have achieved much as a part of being a part of that unity construct. And I think the people of Nevis are pretty much satisfied with the representation that they would have had so far in the Honorable Vance Amory and the Honorable Mark Brantley, and they would want us to continue and build on that. So all of the good that we would have gotten, all of the financial assistance we would have gotten from the federal government, all of the development that has come to Nevis as a result of the Team Unity construct, we want to build on that, and we want that development thrust to continue, and we want the development of our human capital to continue. We have benefited so much in terms of our infrastructure, in terms of scholarships, and we want to build on that, and we believe that we have the best team to achieve that for the people of Nevis.
Okay, there's been some criticism of that ministers, especially the Premier and then former Premier, who you're replacing, Vance Amory, that they have both been collecting 2 salaries and they're neglecting the people of Nevis. Do you agree with that notion? And how do you change the mindset of those who would have been criticizing those 2 individuals that you're actually going to be doing the work for the people of Nevis?
How could anyone in Nevis, any right-thinking person in Nevis, ever think that they have been neglected? When you look at what has happened under the Honorable Vance Amory and the Honorable Mark Brantley since they're in federal cabinet, how could anyone on Nevis in their right mind think that? Look at what has happened in diplomacy. Look at the diplomats we have overseas. Look at the scholarships that we have received. Look at the infrastructural developments that have come. Look at what is happening in Social Security. Look at what is happening in the Department of Labor. And I could go on and on and on. The Honorable Vance Amory and the Honorable Mark Brantley have represented well the people of Nevis. I don't think we could have asked for better representation. We never had that before. And the people of Nevis ought to be proud of what they have received under Premier Mark Brantley and Honorable Vance Amory. And as I said, I think any right-thinking person on Nevis will agree with the fact that Nevis has moved a long way as a result of being a part of the Team Unity government. For those who are saying negative things, that's a part of their negative campaign, and all I will say is that negative campaign will get them nowhere.
This is the Carib Update News Service. I am Wendy Chateau reporting. Suriname's main opposition predicts victory following Monday's vote. This is the big story we're tracking this hour on the AM edition of Newsbreak for Wednesday, May 27, 2020. Details to this and more straight ahead. Now for the details. Suriname's main opposition leader, Chan Santoki, on Tuesday predicted victory for his Progressive Reform Party, the VHP, in the country's elections after 46% of the votes had been counted. Early unofficial results in the tiny South American country showed that President Desi Bouterse, who was recently convicted of murder, could be ousted from office. "We will become the largest party in Suriname," said Santoki, as supporters danced, sang, and hailed their leader as the next president, as they watched results trickle in on a large television screen at party headquarters. The VHP dropped previous alliances to run in Monday's election on its own. Bouterse, 74, a former military dictator turned politician, has dominated the country for 4 decades, but polls had forecast his National Democratic Party, the NDP, was likely to lose its majority in the 51-member parliament, which elects the president. The NDP made no comment to the media early Tuesday. The president of the Haitian Football Federation, Yves Gilbert, has been suspended from his post for 90 days. The governing body of world football, FIFA, took the step after allegations emerged that he coerced teenage female players into having sex with him. He allegedly threatened the girls with losing their spot at the National Training Center if they did not comply. Jean-Bart categorically denies the claims. Police are investigating the allegations. FIFA said the suspension would come into force immediately and apply to all football-related activities at both national and international level. Jean-Bart is 73, has been in charge of Haiti's Football Federation for the past 2 decades. The incidents under investigation are alleged to have taken place in the past 5 years. There will be some form of classroom tutoring in Grenadian schools from June. Minister of Education Emmeline Pear says Form 5 secondary school students preparing for external examinations are now being called out. She said the Grenada Cabinet approved students there sitting the external CXC examinations in July. The lead-up will help the students prepare. But the Grenadian authorities are holding off on most other classroom tutoring for most of the rest of the school population for the time being. Minister Pear announced that Grenada will not have its annual Grade 6 examinations for primary school students, which are used to place 11-year-olds in secondary schools. Minister Pear said a school-based assessment will be used instead, with her department shying away from staging mass examinations in the current COVID-19 environment. This is Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service. In more news, the 15-member Caribbean Community CARICOM grouping on Monday reiterated a call for closer collaboration with Africa in fashioning a new global order as the region participated in Africa Day, which it said underlines the strengthening of relations between the continents. CARICOM Chair and Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, in a congratulatory message, said the new dynamic is contributing to the creation of a space for engagement and exchange of views on a common destiny and shared future. Jean Watt, the 70-year-old spouse of singer and reggae star Bunny Wailer Livingston, is said to be missing in Jamaica. She was reported missing since Saturday, May 23. Watt, who is known as Sister Jean, was last seen in Washington Gardens, St. Andrew on Saturday, May 23. These are some of the top stories from around the Caribbean this hour. This has been Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service, the Caribbean's newsroom. Reporting this hour, I am Wendy Chateau.
Hello, I'm Chris Barrow with the BBC News. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, has set out proposals for a €750 billion package of grants and loans to rebuild the EU's economy. 2/3 of the amount would be for grants to member states and businesses worst affected by coronavirus, with the rest in loans. Ms von der Leyen called it an urgent and exceptional collective response to the crisis. Christel Schaldemose is a member of the European Parliament from Denmark's governing Social Democratic Party. She told the BBC many of the countries hardest hit by the pandemic had already been in financial trouble.
If they have had a better financial situation in these countries before the coronavirus, they would have been better able to tackle the financial consequences. Every single member state of the European Union right now is fighting the financial consequences of the coronavirus, and therefore everybody needs to help themselves as well. And therefore it's more difficult for every member state if they even have to pay grants for those countries.
The International Labour Organization has found that more than 1 in 6 young people worldwide have stopped working since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. Here's Imogen Folks.
The pandemic is, the ILO says, inflicting a triple shock on young people. Not only are their jobs disappearing, but education and training has been disrupted and opportunities to enter or move within the labour market seriously reduced. More than 1 in 6 people aged between 15 and 24 have had to stop work. Those who are still employed have seen their hours cut by an average of 23%. And the ILO analysis shows many young people still working are in informal and low-paid jobs.
President Trump has tweeted that he'll regulate or close down social media platforms if they don't, as he put it, clean up their act. His threat comes a day after Twitter accused him, for the first time, of making false claims in a tweet. Restating accusations of bias, Mr. Trump said Republicans felt that social media platforms totally silenced conservative voices. Anthony Zerka is in Washington.
It's a reflection of the fact that Donald Trump uses social media so much to get his message out to his supporters and the American public in an unfiltered sort of way. So very clearly he feels threatened by this move by Twitter to label one of his tweets with a kind of explanatory note. And it opens a whole other can of worms for Twitter about when they're going to apply these sorts of regulation, these sorts of warnings on tweets, and when they're not. If they're going to step into the fact-checking business, it's going to be a real challenge, and Donald Trump, it's clear at this point, is going to fight them every step of the way.
Anthony Zerka. This is the latest world news from the BBC. President Trump says the US is ready to mediate in the raging border dispute between India and China. He tweeted the US had informed both Asian giants about its ability to arbitrate on their disagreement. This is the first reaction from a world leader after Indian reports said thousands of soldiers from both sides were having a tense standoff in the Ladakh region of Kashmir and also in the northeast. Reports from Syria say there's been an explosion in the northwest province of Idlib near the M4 highway as a Turkish military convoy was going by. There are unconfirmed reports of soldiers being wounded, some critically. Turkey has been mounting joint patrols with Russia along the M4, which crosses from Syria's western coast to the Iraqi border. Amnesty International has called on Nigeria to address years of neglect suffered by a generation of children subjected to the Boko Haram Islamist insurgency. It also criticised the Nigerian military. Chris Iwoka is in Abuja.
In a 91-page report, the global watchdog said children living in Boko Haram-controlled areas were subjected to torture, floggings, and sexual abuse. Others who were displaced by the conflict struggled for survival with little or no access to education. The Nigerian military is yet to respond to allegations of torture and unlawful detention of children in the report.
And the UN says at least 38 people have been killed by an armed group in the eastern Congo. They died in a series of attacks by the Allied Democratic Forces in Ituri and North Kivu provinces. A local monitoring group says nearly 500 civilians have been killed by the ADF since the launch of an offensive against the group in November. The ADF originated as a Ugandan Islamist group, but is now based in the DRC and does not appear to be fighting for a religious cause. BBC News.
That was the WinFM Headline News, brought to you by KDP Enterprises, Caribbean Alliance, Carrie Brewery, CNC Trading, The Grange.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealio Walwyn, people you can trust.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
When is the last time that you've had lunch or dinner away from home? The ambience of Sweet Cane on Port Zante provides you with that touch. Sweet Cane daily specials include burgers, wraps, soup, and tasty seafood dishes. Sweet Cane also caters for events and special parties. Call our Sweet Cane hotline at 465-4345 or 665-7628. Sweet Cane, they've got the touch.
This is your local weather forecast brought to you by Sweet Cane. Local weather forecast for St. Catch and Nevis, valid up to 8 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday, 28th May. Synopsis: a weak tropical wave moving through the area could see periods of unsettled weather today, while tonight, high pressure will build over the area and more settled conditions will prevail. Today's weather: partly sunny with a 20% or a slight chance of showers this morning and a 50% or a moderate chance of showers this afternoon. Tonight's weather: partly cloudy with a 20% or a slight chance of showers. Winds southeast ranging from 13 to 26 kilometers or 7 to 14 knots. with lighter spells mainly overnight. Seas not exceeding 1.5 meters or 5 feet. Today's sunset 6:40 p.m. and tomorrow's sunrise 5:36 a.m. This has been your local weather forecast for St. Catch and Nevis, valid up to 8 a.m. tomorrow. Brought to you by Sweet Cane.
When is the last time that you've had lunch or dinner away from home? The ambience of Sweet Cane on Port Zante provides you with that touch. Sweet Cane daily specials include burgers, wraps, soup, and tasty seafood dishes. Sweet Cane also caters for events and special parties. Call our Sweet Cane hotline at 465-4345 or 665-7628. Sweet Cane, they've got the touch.
Found the sound 98.9 Win FM.
Why not stay in? Turn off the alarm clock and sleep some more on your perfect mattress from Quartz. For the widest range of mattresses from the world's best brands, the best value guaranteed. Shop today and let our sleep experts help you to decide on the best option to suit your needs. At Quartz, we don't just sell mattresses, we're offering you the best night's sleep. So, sleep in a little on your new mattress from Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home.
This is an unprecedented announcement from Horseman's. Get up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. It's Horseman's Automotive Unprecedented Sales Event happening now. Yes, for the first time ever, you get up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Yes, pay zero VAT and get up to $30,000 off on top of that. This has never been seen before. Unprecedented savings at the Unprecedented Auto Sales Event at Horseman's Automotive. Up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Let me repeat, up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Don't miss this, it's unprecedented. Terms and conditions apply.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 30 days of unlimited social messaging, 10 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, and 1,000 local anywhere calls and texts. With the always-on prepaid plan, all for $100. Keep your number when you switch to St. Kitts' most reliable LTE network. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Well, a very good afternoon to you. You're listening to Win FM 90.9. We continue now with Voices. And this segment comes to you compliments Courts, SL Hospital and Company Limited, and Flow. Well, I've had some questions posed to me that I can't really answer at the moment. I've been trying to get some answers for you. A report circulating, a report that's in circulation about the St. Kitts Nevis Coast Guard The St. Kitts Nevis Coast Guard reportedly nabbed one of two vessels attempting to smuggle persons into St. Kitts in the Keys area around midnight Tuesday. According to reports, one of the vessels was captured. Several persons were apprehended. Well, that has been coming my way all morning, and I've been unable to get an official comment on this matter. I've called several persons in authority, and I can't get a response for you, so I'm going to continue trying. And if anyone listening can clarify this matter, we'll be happy to hear from you, someone in authority, of course, whether or not the Coast Guard was involved in this matter, whether this is in fact a true account of what has happened, or whether or not this could be considered as fake news. At the moment, we don't know, and we're trying to get some clear answers from those in authority. You're tuned to Win FM's 90.9. We continue our coverage of Nomination Day, and we go now to Jermaine, who is out and about. Good afternoon, Jermaine. Where are you?
Hi. Thanks, Marcus. Well, I'm actually standing outside of the community center here in constituency 4. Yeah, so I was interacting with a gentleman here. But as it stands right now, the Lindsey Grant has successfully been nominated here, and he has his supporters here, very small but very workers out of here. And like all the other officials that have been nominated today, they're basically saying they're all expressing confidence that that they're going to win. Minister Grant has been talking to the media about his prospects of what he wants to do for tourism should he actually be returned to office again. And, he right now he's... Let's hear a little bit what he has to say. But today begins the big declaration. We want to thank the people of our world. After spring is Ireland, we begin telling the voters that will vote. I want to thank you in advance for the trust and the confidence you repose in me. Come June the 5th, everybody will bigger I don't know if you get a bit of what he is saying there, but he is basically thanking his supporters who are showing support to him currently out here at the community center here in Burchild. In all roads to be exact. So it's been a kind of tedious, a little lengthy process here in terms of him actually being registered. But all in all, he's been successfully nominated, and he's right now walking to the constituency, showing the support for his, thanking his supporters rather for the support that they've shown to him and for him to be successfully nominated. Just want to go back to constituency 3, which I was at earlier today. Akila Byron Nisbet has successfully been nominated as the candidate for the Team Unity Coalition in constituency 3. And she, like Minister Grant, has been expressing her gratitude and support for the person who came out today and those who are lending their support to get her elected. She too has been outlining some of her plans to the media in terms of what exactly it is that she wants to do to the constituency should she be elected on June 5th. But all in all, everything has been going smoothly. But one of the concerns, and you had asked a question when just shortly after Congress was nominated, what about social distancing in the age of COVID-19? Well, you're not seeing that in the registration stations themselves. You're seeing all of the social distancing measures in place. But when you're outside, all of the supporters are basically wearing their masks, but they're not exercising that social distancing mechanism that everybody has been calling for here in the age of COVID-19. Well, as Mr. Grant continues to walk down the road, everybody's still bunched together. And it's not only for the coalition, but also for those from the opposition as well. So, all in all, up here in Old Road, the process has been going smooth in terms of the nomination process. And strikingly, I must mention that 3 candidates are actually running in this particular constituency. I'm trying to confirm the third name of who will be running as the independent candidate. But we can tell you that Steve Brentford has also been nominated in this constituency. But we'll get the name clarified to you this evening for the 6 p.m. news. But all in all, everything up here in Old Road is successful. All 3 candidates have been nominated here in constituency number 4.
All right, thank you very much. That report from German Abel, who is on the ground. He left the constituency number 3. He's in 4 at the moment and filing that report. We've got teams on the ground on St. Kitts, and we hope to be bringing you reports during the course of the day. And of course, we have our newscast at 6 o'clock this evening. I will bring you all the details. You listen to Win FM, it's 90.9, it's Voices, and of course we want to say good afternoon and hello and thank you so much to Essel Hospital and Company Limited, Courts and Flow.
This is an unprecedented announcement from Hospitals. Get up to $30,000 off and pay 0 VAT on top of that. It's Horseman's Automotive Unprecedented Sales Event happening now. Yes, for the first time ever, you get up to $30,000 off and pay 0 VAT on top of that. Yes, pay 0 VAT and get up to $30,000 off on top of that. This has never been seen before. Unprecedented savings at the Unprecedented Auto Sales Event at Horswood's Automotive. Up to $30,000 off and pay 0 VAT on top of that. Let me repeat, up to $30,000 off and pay 0 VAT on top of that. Don't miss it. It's unprecedented. Terms and conditions apply.
Why not stay in? Turn off the alarm clock and sleep some more on your perfect mattress from Quartz. For the widest range of mattresses from the world's best brands, the best value guaranteed. Shop today and let our sleep experts help you to decide on the best option to suit your needs. At Quartz, we don't just sell mattresses, we're offering you the best night's sleep. So, sleep in a little on your new mattress from Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home.
All right, thank you very much. You're tuned to Win FM, is 90.9, just 10 minutes now before the hour of 1 o'clock on this nomination day. I want to say a very good afternoon now to Mr. Steve Manners, who is on the beautiful island of Nevis today. Mr. Manners, good morning.
Well, it's afternoon. The election people have got you bad.
I'll tell you, man. Yeah, back to the future, man. I just said good afternoon, then I said good morning, all in the same breath. Good afternoon to you, Steve. For our listeners, Steve Manners and I have collaborated many a time over the years. He's a journalist in his own right, and he's on the beautiful island of Nevis. We want to get a sense for our listeners. Steve, can you tell us about what's happening nomination day on the island of Nevis? For those of you who don't know much about Nevis, where are the areas that people are going to go to nominate their candidate? Just fill us in, please.
Well, let me put down some historical markers in the first instance. The British government created the Leeward Islands Federation in 1871 and determined that each island within the Leeward Islands would be a presidency on its own. So Nevis had that privilege. That, however, only lasted for 11 years. So by 1882, Nevis lost self-government, which was only restored in 1983 when we moved to independence. The founding fathers, of course, people like Simeon Daniel and Ivor Stevens. Today actually marks 8 years since first Premier of Nevis, Simeon Daniel, moved to a heavenly place. And what people in Nevis are thinking is that this election is a fight for the NIA. Now, we've had previously people from both sides serving in both the Nevis Island administration and the federal administration. In the initial stages, of course, Tim Daniel, Ivor Stevens, etc. Of more recent vintage, Premier Van Samry and then his deputy, Mark Brantley. What people see now is that 3 persons who are 3/4 of the Nevis Island administration are now saying they're going to St. Kitts to do a job. And they are putting at the forefront of their rationale getting more money. I'm sure you've seen the tapes circulating, and people are not taking to that very kindly. This is a period where we're coming out of COVID. Of course, it's contained, but post-COVID, most people think is going to be crucial time for economic recovery. Nevis Island administration will need due care and attention. So there are many people worried that here, the Nevis Island administration, instead of buckling down, trying to recover the Nevis industry, hotel workers are out of work, looking for new investment, etc., are instead going to cozy Bastia. Nomination day on Nevis, it's very symbolic. You are both in St. Kitts and Nevis, very symbolic, but a bit of a formality. So what is taking place is that in Gingerland, where I am, Eric Evelyn, the incumbent in the NIA, is going up against newcomer Bijan Hanley. Now, it's been a very strong area of the island for the CCM. Van Samry has dominated politics here since the 1980s. And there are even some dynamics within the CCM in that Van Samry, with the cascading of events since the elections were called last Monday, his career has come to a screeching halt. So don't mind what you hear. There's a bit of a ire between the camps of Van Samry and the newbie in Eric Evelyn, because they have not allowed former Premier Van Samry to even say goodbye. There was even speculation here that he may run as an independent or even as a member of the PLP, because divisions have observed that he is very cozy with the Prime Minister, Timothy Harris, and we know that there's jostling going on in St. Kitts, so that the PLP can strengthen its hands. Now, as I've said, Nevis 10 is CCM country. Bijan is new on the block, and he's going to have a very, very uphill task. I saw the nomination this morning. It was nothing like the rollicking affair that you're having in St. Kitts. I know that the Commissioner of Police came on radio yesterday to announce protocols. Well, we have observed from this vantage point that they have not been observed. I see jamming in the streets, no physical and social distancing. So much for that. Now we move over to constituency number 11, because most of the teams are going from Gingerland 10 over to 11 and then into Charlestown. Now there we have the incumbent Patrice Nesbitt, and then we have Alexis Jeffers, who of course in 2013 forwarded a petition saying that nobody should represent in both houses of parliament, the NIA and the federal government. Now, the stronghold of that constituency for the CCM is St. James, and the stronghold for the NRP is at St. Thomas's. Now, let's look at some of the events which have happened over the past couple of months. March 5th, a by-election, Cleone Stapleton Simmons, a young woman who just turned 38, running against a four-time candidate, the popular Keith This and That Scarborough, and she soundly defeated him. One of the reasons being that, of course, it's a stronghold held by Joseph Parry for over 30 years as well. So she got a bit of a shoo-in. But during that campaign, the CCM ran a very bizarre campaign. They told the people of St. Thomas's that to vote for her, a lady running in a stronghold, which was held by Simeon Daniel, Joseph Parry, Victor Martin, that she couldn't do anything for the people and that people should should not vote for her because the CCM is firmly entrenched in the government. Well, who told them to say that? That was seriously rebuffed. Then, around April 18th, after the state of emergency was put in place, after 42 days, the government hurriedly rushed her in a mass and all inside the cabinet, inside the House of Assembly, to be installed. That after they were boast around the community that if this and that and one, he would be installed in a week. And so the people in St. Thomas's were very, very, very hurt by that. Now, yesterday morning on radio, the Cleon Stapleton dropped a bombshell. 2 days makes 83 days, and she has not been paid since being elected March 5th. No attempt to get her installed in an opposition office, even though the Premier has boasted that they're reaching out in the name of good governance. So the people in St. Thomas's have been hurting, as the young people would say, bigly. And they're wetting their hands and waiting, I can sense. I've heard people say things in that community. So we could say that at the moment, we'll be standing 1-1. The real toss-up will be in Nevis 9. And why do I say it's going to be a toss-up? Despite all the impressions which people get in St. Kitts and abroad, Mark Grantley's support comes mostly from the overseas vote and the expat community. On the ground, Nevisian, born and bred, not so popular, because many of them feel that his premiership has been highlighted by hype and style over substance. And so that dynamic is going to bring something new to this election. Now, the other thing is that people are watching over here is the crumbling infrastructure of Team Unity. Now, let's cast our minds back to May 11th, 2016, when, first of all, Speaker Franklin Brand resigned. He hadn't even presided over the budget the December before. So the cracks began showing months after Unity was put in place. Perkins took his place. Let's move forward to May 2018, when amidst the Peter Verdi scandal, there was a test of the leadership of Timothy Harris. So a bunch of persons from St. Kitts came over, allegedly for secret meetings on Nevis. Word got out, and you know what the Prime Minister said. He said, over a tabernacle, that none of them can hold a candle of correction to him. Now, Mark Grantley is a very proud man. And I know that he has been hurting from that ever since. It's now 738 days. But despite all the bravado, people see that the relationship between Timothy Harris and Mark Grantley has been fractured. Think about it for a minute. Over the past 9 weeks or so, including your station, there has been a program called Leadership Matters. Timothy Harris has brought on all of his men from his cabinet, people who are looking to make their way, like Akila Byron, John L. Powell. The only person who has not appeared alongside the Prime Minister is Mark Grantley. You would think that the two leaders would be sitting down trying to chart a course as we try to catch our feet post-COVID. The other thing is that the real mover and shaker of Team Unity, the launch at Greenlands Park in 2014 or 2013, I think it was, 26th of September, Mark Grantley was the main protagonist. Premier Van Sammel wasn't even there. He scented a mystery in CCM Chairman Stedman Cross because he was away in England. So there is, from all that we can see, a fractured relationship between the Premier on Nevis and the Prime Minister on St. Kitts. Hence why about a year ago in Barbados, when invited there to speak on Dear Martley's behalf, he said from a distance he's the kingmaker. Mark Grantley is standing by, hoping that there could be a fracture in St. Kitts where he can jump in, and that's why he's saying all three for we, and be the deciding force in St. Kitts Nevis. I've said before, and I will say again, there are about 9 words you will never hear Mark Brantley ushering this campaign. You'll hear many words from him. Those that you won't hear him utter is that I will support Timothy Harris for Prime Minister in a new dispensation. And I talk about the crumbling infrastructure, so much happening in St. Kitts over the last couple of months. A lot of defectors, Douglas Watley, Clecton Phillip, Terry Adams, Big Life, Duncan Big Life, Dwyer Astafan, and of course the most shocking of all, Timothy Harris, the most honest, not Timothy Harris, Sam Conner, the most honest of men, last week Thursday hosting a press conference and said he had resigned with immediate effect Wednesday, and of course he was coming out to tell his story. All is not well within Team Unity. We can see that. Mark Brantley continues to tell people over here it's the best thing since sliced cheese. I gave him a challenge that he should come back to Charlestown on the apron of the Charlestown Courthouse, where the Charlestown Accord was signed, and account to the people of Nevis. He's been grumbling quietly. All is not well. So the toss-up will be in Nevis 9, Charlestown, St. John's.
Well, thank you very much for that, Steve. That's some great analysis and some great commentary from you today as well. So you did give us some background. You did give us some context. You gave us some insight as well. So I want to thank you very much for that. And, of course, we wish you well, Steve. Thank you so much.
All the best.
All the best. All right, that's Steve Manners there giving commentary on the elections and, of course, giving his view of what's happening in terms of what's at stake, what are some of the dynamics. That was great commentary there from Steve Manners on Nevis. I do hope that you learned a thing or two about some of the areas of conflict, some of the areas of competition in terms of Nevis 9, Nevis 10, Nevis 11. And, of course, we'll try to get someone with a different view from Mr. Manners as well, so you can hear both arguments. But you heard clearly the perspective of Steve Manners there, and that was very, very welcome indeed. Thank you, Steve. All right, 4 minutes after 1 o'clock, and you're listening to Voices on Win FM 98.9. Let's hear from our partners.
Why not stay in, turn off the alarm clock, and sleep some more on your perfect mattress from Quartz? For the widest range of mattresses from the world's best brands, the best value guaranteed. Shop today and let our sleep experts help you to decide on the best option to suit your needs. At Quartz, we don't just sell mattresses, we're offering you the best night's sleep. So, sleep in a little on your new mattress from Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home.
Free data with your top-up. Enjoy your 1 gigabyte weekend data bonus when you top up today, $25 or more. Share all your fun times at home with your loved ones and stay entertained streaming your favorite online content on the best LTE network. Stay safe and stay connected with Flow. Top up $25 or more today and get 1 gigabyte of data free. Conditions apply.
This is an unprecedented announcement from Horseman's. Get up to $30,000 off and pay 0 VAT on top of that. It's Horseman's Automotive Unprecedented Sales Event happening now. Yes, for the first time ever, you get up to $30,000 off and pay 0 VAT on top of that. Yes, pay 0 VAT and get up to $30,000 off on top of that. This has never been seen before. Unprecedented savings at the Unprecedented Auto Sales Event at Horseman's Automotive. Up to $30,000 off and pay 0 VAT on top of that. Let me repeat, up to $30,000 off and pay 0 VAT on top of that. Don't miss it. It's unprecedented. Terms and conditions apply.
We go back to the phone lines. Call you live and on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Backus.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Steve is a very articulate man, and he knows his stuff. You know, so he's offering his commentary, his analysis of the situation on Nevis, and we welcome that as well. So go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. Well, really, what I as an honest broker here, you being from Ghana, I just wanted to know if Guyanese exhibit the same logic as Kittians. I mean, I speak advocating good governance. And I say bribery is wrong. It doesn't matter if it's done with a voucher or a fridge. It doesn't matter who does it or when it is done. Wrong is just wrong, right? And what do we want people to do? Return the fridge or whatever they get? No, what we want to do is to end the practice. That's what we want. Why would you want to use past bad behavior to justify current or future bad behavior? Right? And that's the perfect example of why we continue this never-ending cycle. Right? Because you could bet your life those who go in next, if you don't institute the good governance measures to prevent those kinds of things, they're going to be using the same excuses as well. You know, and strangely, even persons who are trained in logical thinking engage in that kind of thinking as well, you know. I listened to you and the Honorable Sean Richards and Eugene Hamilton on Saturday. And I listened to Sean Richards trying to defend the indefensible. I mean, you asked him about nepotism. And he launched into a tirade on the nepotism practice by the previous administration, as if to justify the current one. Nepotism is just nepotism, regardless of who does it or when it is done. And you being devil's advocate, asking to prove, so you must prove it. But, Mr. Bacchus, there is a reason why progressive countries have laws against nepotism, right? Everyone knows the temptation to want to help your family, right? That's natural. And that is exactly why controls are put in place in the first place.
But to basically challenge you again, basically what the argument has been is that, look, if you are a member of a particular family and everybody bright, everybody educated and so on, should you not get a chance to exercise your right to earn a living in a country and that sort of thing? The other thing you've heard is that once the vacancy is advertised openly and there's a competition, then what is the issue? So the question is, what needs to be put in place to ensure that those charges can be proven? Because you're hearing a lot of talk, but what is in place to ensure that you can actually prove your case, that this is a case that is against some law or some regulation? I don't know whether the Integrity in Public Life Act or whatever it's planning to do would include that. But at the moment, there seems to be a grayish area as to how you lock that down and say this is wrong.
You see, Mr. Bacchus, one of the other arguments is that we're small and, you know, you must have, in a small country, you must have that. But I find we use our small size to excuse a multiple of sins. I mean, there is a right and a wrong way to help your family, right? And I challenge anyone to point to anywhere else in the Caribbean where siblings of any prime minister is in top positions in like the civil service, the major financial institutions, law enforcement, the judiciary, all strategic positions like St. Kitts. I bet you would never ever come up with one. Okay? Nowhere else would tolerate it, right? And so why should we? And after all, this is government, not a family business, right? And it isn't that family members can't work in an institution. Okay, you see it all the time in well-run corporations, in the banks and that sort of thing. They don't allow family members to be like in the same department for obvious reasons. Okay, so, and I remember working in a place where we actually encourage people to bring their friends and families to work in that institution. But it was at a lower level, okay? You know, we actually paid them to bring them because the idea was we wouldn't have to go through with references. The references are right there, you know. And once they passed the probation period, we paid them to a finder's fee, so to speak. So it isn't that it can't happen, but when you have it at this level.
But isn't it a winner take all? Our time now, we better than them, and essentially, it's our turn. Essentially, it's like a family-run business. Our family is now in charge. Our family will take care of our family now. We're in charge. The other family had their time. Isn't that what's happening?
You're what to call it, as a provocateur. But that's the whole point. It's not a family business, right? It is
it's
a
not,
government that
it's not a family business, or it shouldn't be a family business.
I would hope it is not.
Okay.
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 That's what I say. It is not. And in terms of measures that you can use, don't you hear of judges and so on recusing themselves out of cases when it becomes too close to them? Things like that is what should happen. If you run a professional civil service, for instance, I'm laughing because even there, in payroll, you have a sibling as well. But if you run a professional civil service and everything is open and above board, these things just would not happen. And if they're this excuse that they're qualified, and if they're so well qualified, they'd have absolutely no problem finding jobs in the private sector. No problem whatsoever. Okay? But like I said, nowhere else. You can point me to nowhere else in the Caribbean where this obtains, right? And the reason behind this, Mr. Bacchus, how would you feel if you are thinking that, they got a job because their sibling is the prime minister? Yeah, and that's the thing. It's bad for even the family members, because they might have gotten the job totally on merit because they're well qualified. But there's that thing over there, right? There isn't the arm's length kind of transaction kind of thing, which gives people confidence that things are being done correctly. That's the whole issue. Okay? So when you say, nobody's saying that they can't be in government if you're in high office, okay? No one is saying that, but you must always look out for that potential abuse of power, all right? And that's what I'm talking about, the good governance. You have to have checks and balances in place, because if people have power, the temptation is to use it. And one of the ways of using that, one of the obvious ways of using that, is to try to help your family. It's almost human nature. So we need controls for that. So, I was very disappointed with Mr. Richards' response, because that was the mantra last election, that they're going to put these measures in place to fix these things. And you don't even hear them talking about it now. It's like last election cycle did not exist. How could that be? How did they get from there to here? Simply because they're now in power, that they've forgotten what they promised? That something is radically wrong there. I don't know what it is about power and politics, that, it's like you change on a dime as soon as you get in there. And that is the only way. That's why I keep saying we're supposed to change governments and keep changing until we get the governance we want. Because if we don't have the governance, the same thing will just keep happening. We'll be going around in circles. And I did challenge even you, Mr. Bacchus. Give me a better way of making sure things change, and I'll support it 100%. Right? But until we get the change, that is all I can say we can do. Because they put it in black and white in the manifesto. That's the thing, in black and white. And now they're running from it? No, man. Something is radically wrong there.
All right.
Something wrong with that picture.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mr.
All right, thank you so much for calling, and, of course, for entertaining my questions. and for responding as well. You listen to Voices on WinFM 90.9. Let's hear from our partners.
Why not stay in, turn off the alarm clock, and sleep some more on your perfect mattress from Quartz? For the widest range of mattresses from the world's best brands, the best value guaranteed. Shop today and let our sleep experts help you to decide on the best option to suit your needs. At Quartz, we don't just sell mattresses, we're offering you the best night's sleep. So, sleep in a little on your new mattress from Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home.
Flo's new combo plan, the people's plan. Combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flow.
I want a combo, but not for my belly. I feel me cell phone, so me call anybody. Call Mr. Man, call Granny. On the island, Flow, come boom.
Yes, there is no need for to force no more. Cause with Flow combo plan, you're paying less for more.
Flow got a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flow. Dial star 129 number sign to activate your combo plan today.
This is an unprecedented announcement from Horseman's. Get up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. It's Horseman's Automotive Unprecedented Sales Event happening now. Yes, for the first time ever, you get up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Yes, pay zero VAT and get up to $30,000 off on top of that. This has never been seen before. Unprecedented savings at the Unprecedented Auto Sales Event at Horseman's Automotive. Up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Let me repeat, up to $30,000 off and pay zero VAT on top of that. Don't miss it. It's unprecedented. Terms and conditions apply.
You tune in to WinFM, it's 90.9, and earlier in the program I did say to you material was sent to me, information circulated alleging an incident involving the Coast Guard, and that report that I got said essentially that the St. Kitts and Nevis Coast Guard reportedly nabbed one of two vessels attempting to smuggle persons into St. Kitts and Nevis area around midnight Tuesday. Well, I have a response now from a top police official whose name I'll not call at the moment, but who has said to me in no uncertain terms that that information is fake, F-A-K-E. So it's not true, according to that official, top-ranked officer in the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force. So that report circulating via WhatsApp is fake, according to my police sources. All right, let's go back to the phone lines and hear what's on your mind this afternoon. Call you live and on the air. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, Mr. Bacchus.
Yes, Mr. Montserrat. How you doing, man?
Yes, I'm good. Good and still bad. Because I'm here on disturbing news from Nevis just now that the lady not get paid yet. No, to anybody who responsible over the Nevis, please pay the lady. Please pay the lady. Mr. Bacchus, you remember when he run, I mean, at the first time I hear about the lady, I never even hear the name before for Nevis. And Scarborough, they believe me, one of Scarborough's biggest fans. Well, you remember what Mr. Bacchus, when election, you remember?
Remind me.
You remember Miss say if me Mark Branty, me know to run one candidate, and me ask Mr. Scarborough not for run because just give the lady one buy. You remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Right.
Remember that one?
So I please pay the lady. Mr. Bacchus, let me shout out my sister, USA, Connecticut, Canary. She said something one while ago. She said, well, at the least, she would see what, I'm not going to use the words that the other guy used. I'm going to use my words. She would see what the citizens on the ground
really want. So we'll wait for that. But you see, my problem is they need to change the name of the election this year. If you say you got a general election and just leave it at that, me not got a problem. But do not use the word free and fair, because you're not going to free and fair election this year. Mr. Bacchus, you remember Saturday I asked some questions to Miss. Well, me asked both, but one to pick it up. Give me an answer that we take it to heaven. You remember that?
Yes.
Right. The answer I get could not take Mr. Hamilton to heaven. But may not give the benefit of the doubt. May not give the benefit of the doubt. And here the benefit that may not give you. Me not believe Mr. Hamilton know what one state of emergency be. Because you see what he do? He quote the Constitution. Mr. Bacchus, I know state of emergency. The state of emergency takes preeminence on Constitution. You cannot quote the Constitution to me now. You just have to deal with the rules of the state of emergency. Because you see how we quote the Constitution, forget yourself out. If me a citizen, me to carry their court for mine rights of assembly. You see, he take away mine rights and then he use his rights. No, forget out of the question. You understand exactly, Mr. Bacchus?
I understand what you're saying. Yes, I understand what you're saying, of course.
Exactly. So all the other rights that me got, not the Constitution, it take away under the state of emergency. But he still use normality under the state of emergency. And I wrong that are deception. But maybe give the benefit of the doubt and saying that he none of the rules under a state of emergency. Because he still accord the Constitution and normality. And that wrong. That I want deception. Okay then, Mr. Bacchus.
All right, thank you very much for calling. Well, Mr. Hamilton is the leader of government business, my brother. That means he's a well-informed man. All right, thank you very much for staying tuned to Win FM 98.9. It's 26 minutes after 1 o'clock. Let's see where German Abel is at the moment. He's our man on the street, if you like. German, where are you now? Hello? Well, the man seems to have disappeared. Well. We have to have a thorough investigation here. All right, we're going to try to make contact again with Mr. Abel in a moment.
Why not stay in? Turn off the alarm clock and sleep some more on your perfect mattress from Quartz. For the widest range of mattresses from the world's best brands, the best value guaranteed. Shop today and let our sleep experts help you to decide on the best option to suit your needs. At Quartz, we don't just sell mattresses, we're offering you the best night's sleep. So, sleep in a little on your new mattress from Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 30 days of unlimited social messaging, 10 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, and 1,000 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $100. Keep your number when you switch to St. Kitts' most reliable LTE network. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
All right, Mr. Abel.
Yes.
Ah, we found you. I was getting worried for a minute there, you know. Welcome back. Where are you?
Technology. Well, I've made my way down from Old Road. I'm actually in constituency 1 at the police training school where Ian Patches Library is currently signing off on all documents pertaining to him being registered officially for the election. And it's the same old here inside the polling station where I was just at, stepped outside to take this. And he is actually, there's actually social distancing inside, you know, where the media, everybody's there, so there's social distancing. But again, the problem, and I'm reiterating this, is that the supporters are not practicing social distancing in the age of COVID-19. You know, we have a group of people under a tree, or you have somebody under a little shed somewhere, and that's a big concern as we prepare for elections next Friday. But nevertheless, everything is moving smoothly here. It's very much quiet and so forth. But the issue of social distancing is what has actually been on everybody's mind today, and I don't know how best we can continue to have this into the public that social distancing is the measure. But he hasn't come out yet, and he hasn't spoken to the media yet. So that's the latest here from the police training school. As we know, this morning, Jeffrey Hanley would have successfully registered, as would have been played on the news, on the headline news today.
All right, thank you very much, German. That's German Abel. He's now back in 1, and he's going to, of course, interview Minister Ian Patches Library. Hopefully we'll get that organized for you for our evening news at 6 o'clock. And we want to thank you very much for staying tuned to Win FM 98.9. Let's go back to hearing from some of our partners who were interrupted just moments ago, just to get an update on our coverage in the field.
Free data with your top up. Enjoy your 1 gigabyte weekend data bonus when you top up today, $25 or more. Share all your fun times at home with your loved ones and stay entertained streaming your favorite online content on the best LTE network. Stay safe and stay connected with Flow. Top up $25 or more today and get 1 gigabyte of data free. Conditions apply.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Tis the season for tools. It's tool season at Horswood's Building Center and Nevis Center for the month of May. That's right. At Horswood's Building Center and Nevis Center, we're making it easy to get the right tools for your home improvement during this tool season ending May 31st. For this tool season, hundreds of tools store-wide have been slashed up to 25% off. That's 25% off tools store-wide, from drills to mowers, tool bags to cutters, wrenches to hammers, and much more. So from now until the end of May, it's tool season at Horswood's with up to 25% off store-wide on tools. Horswood's Building Center, St. Kitts Nevis' favorite home improvement store, making home improvement easy. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Okay, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for being a part of today's program of Voices. We are sorry we were unable to take your calls, those of you who are trying to get through a bit earlier on. And, of course, we have to wrap it now. And we do hope, of course, we can hear from you in our next edition of Voices to be aired tomorrow at 11 o'clock right here on Win FM. Thanks to our sponsors, and thank you for listening to Win FM 90.9. Have a pleasant afternoon.
Different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Yes, Naya. Cool na aya. Who am I? Just the girl, them sugar. All right. Here I know. Oh, na 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 na. Oh, na 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 keys to my bimmer. Who am I? The girls them sugar. How can I make love to a fella in a rush? Pass me the keys to my trucks. Who am I? The girls them lock. And I, we make love to precious. But you ever buck a girl with deep like a bucket. Draw for your niggle like your niggle can't stitch it. Draw for your oxen like a cow, you wanna chop it. Draw for your pickaxe like a gun, you wanna dig it. It's like a riverside up on the bank and you take it. It's like a bicycle so you hold it and dash it. So you watch it, so you crash it. She a tell you say you grab it. Girl, she a beg you wanna ball, take it, stop it. Batman plug in and me a move like a electric. It's like a basketball, she take time out to bomb it. We listen to me silent, we listen to me lyrics. I be the man there and me a drop it. I said simmer. Who got the keys to my bimmer? Who am I? The girls them sugar. How can I make love to a fella in a rush? Pass me the keys to my trucks. Who am I? The girls them lock. And I we make love to pressure. Anything she want, I will give it unto she. I can't believe today my friend them tell me that she flee. I don't believe he's angry and I don't believe he's grief. I don't believe it's Susan or the other girls I read. Love for me, she have that is the only thing I need. I don't intend right now just to lose my main squeeze. Oh, Guantanamela, you a killer. Girl, you watch you on me body under pressure. Man, see your body all a kill mosquito. When your body right, just to know you got the power. But simmer, who got the keys to my bimmer? Who am I? The girls them sugar. How can I make love to a fella in a rush? Pass me the keys to my trucks. Who am I? The girls them lock. And I will make love to precious stuff. I tell myself I don't want nobody else to ever love me. You are my guiding star, my shining light. I love you, baby. But that day you leave and you're gone, I know that girls they going crazy. I know the girls love some, all of them are on come, cause the one of them want this, baby. I told you once and I told you twice that I am the girls them sugar. No, the girls them attack me.